Alright, then let's resume our journey. Second leg, driving from Kulim to Seremban. And we had just pulled over this rest stop area. It's called Sungai Perak stop. And let's just give a little bit of time for the windshield to clear. The wipers wash this a little bit.
Turn right, then turn left.
Let's see. Here we have some trucks and a long distance bus who pulled over here for a rest. A bit tricky the way some of these people park their vehicles. Tricky being another word for inconsiderate, because like there's only this one way to get out of this rest area, and you can't be blocking the only one lane that's available. But oh well, here we go, trying to merge onto the main road, and oh my god, there's another series of trucks that are here as well. What you need to do is to accelerate enough to be able to get into the main highway. As you can see, some of these vehicles are really fast, so you needed that earlier stretch to allow you to accelerate so that you can safely merge into traffic. But sometimes what you want to do and what people allow you to do are not quite the same. A little bit of dampness on the windshield. That's because of the humidity. In Malaysia it's high humidity, and inside the car it has been air conditioned, and so the inside is a little bit cooler than the outside, and the windshield therefore is a bit cooler than the outside, and so water or moisture tends to condense on it. But once we start driving, wind will clear away that excess moisture. Here we go. And resume. Let's see if I can drive on this overtaking lane now. Get back into a little bit faster driving, a little bit, but the road now between here and the city of Ipoh, it's going to be entering a mountainous area, so it will be a winding road with a fairly steep uphill climb soon, and then traffic will, have to slow down a fair bit, and the heavy vehicles and trucks will be struggling to make it up the mountain slope, while cars like mine, should be able to manage. But one would still need to, be very mindful of speeding, because, like I said a bit earlier, the difference between the speeds of the vehicles in the faster lane and the trucks will be very great. So you're basically whizzing by these heavy lumbering trucks, which is not good. You want to be, slow, just gently overtaking them, so you can respond, to any, encroachment into your lane or whatever it is. Yeah, if you're driving at very high speed and the vehicles on the other lane are just crawling, then it's just not good. Yeah. Sure if the camera is able to capture the scenery in the background, some mountains and stuff, but but you can see the road is now become wide to 3 lanes. Not because we are approaching the city, but it's just that we're climbing up a steeper hill, so they need more lanes in order to allow the extremely slow vehicles to be on the left. Then they have some emergency lanes for some of the larger trucks to stop at, because it's going to be a long uphill climb for them on very low gears, and their engines can be in danger of overheating on the drive up. Then later, at the midway point, there is a tunnel that cuts through the mountain, so the road doesn't have to go right all the way to the top of the mountain. And after the tunnel, the road begins to go downhill for a fair bit, and on the downhill stretch, the trucks are again going to be facing a lot of difficulty, because now the weight of their vehicles and the cargo is going to be pushing them at ever increasing speed, so to speak. The forces of gravity are playing a big role, and so they have to keep trying to slow down their vehicles. They can't be stomping on their brakes for too long, because the brakes would overheat. So they need to engage very low gears on their trucks to try to have the engine gearing forces, help to slow down their trucks. It's not easy when you're doing it for too long a stretch. And it's dangerous if they lose control of their vehicles, because imagine a truck losing control as it's going downhill. So they have a few emergency lanes for the downhill vehicles that are losing control of their braking systems. Essentially, they are like lanes that have a lot of loose gravel, and then which begin to slope a bit upwards. So the loose gravel acts like a kind of a braking system for their trucks. Now we can already see that truck that we are all taking. He's going uphill and he's like slow. This guy is like slow. He's probably only able to do, I don't know, 5 or 10 kilometers an hour. Yeah. And he's got to do it for a fair bit. Yeah. And it's not easy for the truck drivers because, like, they really have to judiciously use their engine power. Yeah, they can't be going uphill at full engine throttle, because like it's too long a climb, they might overheat their engines. And then some of the trucks which have got better engines or which are not actually having a heavy load are able to move a bit faster, and they be overtaking the slowest trucks. So which was why they had 3 lanes earlier on, and then now we've come to the tunnel in the middle of the mountain, and this is 2 lanes. After this, the road will go downhill. There's still a slight upward slope to this tunnel. Yeah. It's all quite interesting. During the day, this is a nice stretch to drive. Lovely mountain views, lovely greenery. You can see the jungles, yeah, old jungles. Though unfortunately, the forests tend to get exploited. The lumber is worth a lot of money, so logging companies want to remove the lumber. Then later the land becomes valuable because it's near to the cities, so everybody begins to take a bite at the forests. Then you get loss of the forests, and then the wildlife loses their natural habitat. So it's a very sad downward spiral. Though we do have some sorts of control over forest exploitation, unfortunately the interests of the commercial sector tend to merge with the interests of the corruptible politicians that be, and the losers are nature, and later us eventually. But then again, oh well, this is supposed to be just a driving stream. So as always, we shall not venture into the social or even political spectrum of discussion. Slow truck ahead of us. I'm on this lane. Vehicle wants to overtake me from the other lane. Okay, it's clear now. Now signal given, indicator. Overtaking. So that guy's going to move down slowly here. I wonder what he's got. What is he full of? Petrochemical products or natural gas or whatever. Keep on the lookout on the left. You might spot one of the emergency lanes that I was talking about. Trucks that or heavy vehicles that lose their braking systems, they can just veer off into one of those lanes, and the gravel in that lane and that incline or whatever might help them to slow down and come to a stop safely. Even I'm like sort of like keeping a slower speed. We're just doing about 75 kilometers an hour here. approaching the city of Ipoh. You can see Ipoh lights in the distance, but this highway, this is the main north-south highway. It just cuts right through all the cities, so we don't actually get into the city. We just, drive on a highway through it. Look to the left. There should be an emergency kind of slow down vehicle lane. There's something like that on our left here. Unfortunately, at night you can't see the gravel and the features of it. Okay, now we continue. We drive through Ipoh. And again, we've got some trucks on the side resting after the stressful downhill climb. You'll notice that in Malaysia, when vehicles are stalled or parked, or even when they're driving through the rain or through some dangerous situation, they tend to put their hazard lights on. And that's like, the hazard lights, both indicator lights flashing at the same time. And so, over here in Malaysia, if you see a vehicle with those lights on, it just sort of like means that, the driver is stressed driving either through heavy rain or, something's wrong with his vehicle. But I have been told by friends who are, in the professional driving fraternity, that those lights are only supposed to be turned on when you are at a hazardous situation, coming to a dead stop somewhere, where you yourself are a hazard to other vehicles. So if your vehicle has stalled in the middle of the road, or perhaps even at the side, but when you are stalled somewhere and you're a hazard, then you turn those lights on, so everybody knows they've got to avoid you. But over here, you might see a vehicle driving along the road with those lights on, and then you don't know what's going on. Sometimes when there's very heavy rain and the visibility is poor, some vehicles begin to turn those lights on, and they are sort of like warning other vehicles, hey, this is where I am, this is where I am, even if you can't see my normal tail lights in the heavy rain. But like I said, I was told by friends that this sort of situation, having the hazard lights on, is supposed to only be for vehicles stalled in hazardous conditions. So anyway, if you're in Malaysia and you're driving and you see those hazard lights on, just be aware. That's how they use them here. And we are now at a section of the highway that is cutting through Ipoh city. It's cutting through like a suburban section of Ipoh, so you don't see the city buildings or whatever. For some strange reason, the highway speed limit here is only 90 kilometers an hour. Even though it's like a highway as in the same highway that we were driving down before. Quite a few people have had traffic tickets issued to them for exceeding the speed limit here, and I believe even I had a ticket issued to me here once. It just arrives in the mail like, a speed camera noticed that you were driving in violation of the speed limit. So I probably had a speed ticket here for driving at about 110 when it was supposed to be just 90. This was, God, I don't know, probably 10 years ago. What can I do? Pay the fine and be a bit more aware. Yeah? But it's easy to sort of like slip up and forget about the 90 kilometer speed limit unless you keep looking at the speed limit signs. Yeah, but if you're driving along this highway, you sort of like see so many of these 110 signs that you begin to assume that all the signs are saying 110, but that's not the case. So when driving along the north-south highway, when you're within certain city areas, then keep a lookout for the speed limits. Yeah? Even further north towards the Butterworth side, they have a 90 kilometer per hour limit for certain stretches. So you just got to follow and be aware. And even here right now, it looks like we are out of the city thingy, but in actual fact, no, really, we are still within the 90 kilometer speed limit zone until we come across some toll station at the sides. You'll notice that there's also another road that is parallel to this road on the side, and that's like a non-highway road serving the city. All a little bit confusing sometimes, but so anyway, having local knowledge is good, and also having one of these like driving apps running when you're driving is also good, because the app will let you know about the local speed limit on whichever road you're on, and it'll even give you some kind of a warning indicator when you are driving exceeding the local speed limit thingy. Yeah? And the app that I'm using when I drive in Malaysia is called Waze, W-A-Z-E. It's probably the most accurate driving app for Malaysia, and it gets updated all the time by other users. And I believe a lot of people who are using Grab drivers are using Waze as well. I've tried using Google Maps for driving, but I find that it's not good. Yeah, it veers between not good and rubbish for driving, because sometimes it will show you routes which are only accessible by bicycles. It just tends to read too much street information and tries to be too clever. Try to note every small tiny little street, whereas Waze is just for drivers. Yeah, Waze is not going to teach you how to walk from one point to another. It's just going to let you know how you can drive. And that's what you want, a dedicated driving app, and it's accurate. In Kuala Lumpur, for example, Waze will take you, to any place that you want to go, and during traffic congestion periods, it will even guide you through side roads that you never knew existed, but accurately guide you to where you want to go. Yeah, to save you a lot of traveling time. Look at that. Hey, by the way, these videos are not sponsored by Waze. By God, they're not sponsored by anybody, and I don't even have enough subscribers in my YouTube channel, or viewers to even be able to bring in 1 single cent of revenue into this stream. I'm just doing it. Why? Because I'm stupid? Yeah, perhaps. But I enjoy watching driving, videos and some other informative videos. So I thought, why not? Yeah, let's just put something out there. Yeah? And occasionally I do, meet people who comment or stuff like that. And, we sort of like make some new friends across the world. That can't be such a bad thing. Okay, what's the speed limit here? I think we've exited the highway thingy. Just looking to the next speed indicator thingy. What is it saying? Saying vehicles, watch out. Yep, here we go. 110 comes through. Past Ipoh City, and we're headed towards Kuala Lumpur. Which is another 2 hours away. That's if I drive non-stop. I feel quite good. Road visibility also good. Traffic, also good, I would say. So again, here we go. Guy driving ahead of us with hazard lights on. So you got to try to work out what he means by these hazard lights. He's not driving too slow. Weather is good, visibility is good. So what does he wants us to deduct? Deduce from the lights that he's flashing. I don't know. Some of these street lights that they have, I don't know, when we come to intersections, it can be pretty bright, yeah? They glare. Putting any music on while I'm recording these videos. When I drive, sometimes I put on music on the playlist. Yeah, I am, after all, a professional musician. But the thing is, if any of the music gets into this video and I put it on YouTube, then YouTube has got software that listens to whatever is going on in the audio of a video, and then if it detects any copyrighted material, it may block the video, for infringing audio copyright. So I can't even listen to music while I'm driving if I want to record video, because we can't have the music in the video. And I've got a few albums out, and I can't even play my own albums and have the songs on my videos in YouTube, because YouTube is the songs, and it will send me an email saying that, hey, you are violating copyright. So can you imagine that? Yeah, I've done some videos where I'm actually performing, and I perform my own original material, and then YouTube flags my videos because they say I'm violating copyright, and I'm bloody hell, and I own the copyright for my own songs. I don't have a recording company. I am my recording company, and once I had to write to YouTube and give them a long explanation of how I cannot be infringing upon my own copyright, so to speak, and they let that one single video through, but their bots will block every single video that it detects with my own songs, so to speak. And so I've given up. Yeah, I've given up basically. I can't be replying to every single video, so I've got to make sure that my own videos don't contain my music. Yeah, and it's not even the original album versions that I can't put up. I can't even perform and sing my own songs into a YouTube video without it flagging the thing for copyright infringement. And the same thing when I do cover songs on some of my other videos, then YouTube will invariably flag the video saying that you're infringing upon copyright. But they're quite clever. What they'll do is they'll say you're infringing upon copyright, but we'll allow the video to be on YouTube, but all the royalties and all the advertisement revenue will go to the copyright holders. So I could be having lots of viewers on some of my videos, but I don't get a single cent from them, because other people get the royalties. Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. So until I start getting my own content with sufficient viewership, my YouTube channel remains happily non-monetized. Driving. Let's pick up with spewing a whole ton of diesel smoke. Yeah, bad man, keeping vehicle bad. By the way, folks, it seems that diesel fumes are very unhealthy, and they're fairly toxic. They don't publicize this aspect of things too much because so many vehicles, especially commercial vehicles, are running on diesel, but their fuels are not good. So that's one reason for the world to want to move away from fossil fuels. But then again, we'll only move away from fossil fuels once the big companies have made all the money they can make out of fossil fuels. Because even more important than your health or my health or the environment, even more important than that, is the commercial interests of big businesses. But oh well, hey, let's stick to just driving there. Oh, here the lights are a little bit confusing. You've got these bloody blue lights flashing and then reflectors from some bridge structure, and then the lights from oncoming traffic, and then sometimes red lights from the vehicles ahead of us. There's so many of these lights, it's hard to work out where the road is and what's what here. I absolutely hate these blue flashing lights. They often obviously trying to warn you about something, but it's like a very irritating and distracting warning. Then you got like amber lights flashing, so you got to, I don't know, have some kind of a code book for what all the different flashing things are about. And here we go again, 3 lanes going uphill, which means that it's going to be a steep slope. Some vehicles are going to be really slow, so we slow down accordingly. Just like I hate to whiz past trucks. Every once in a while you get a crazy truck driver who suddenly swerves out of his lane because he's moving 5 kilometers an hour faster than another truck ahead of him, and he's in a hurry. So he swerves out of his lane, and then you are coming down so fast that you can't help but crash into him, or So the rule of the game is when trucks are moving on in the same direction as you are, don't move too much faster than them. Flashing, so what if you get one blue light flashing, what does it mean? My high beam has come on in this area. Look, even my car's like automated beam thingy is confused. What are all these flashing lights about? What's happening here? Road is curving, road is clear. Downhill, trucks ahead of us. Ooh, there was a 90 kilometer per hour speed limit. Now it's 100. I didn't notice, honestly, that it was 90, but then again, I had already slowed down because of the trucks being slow as we were uphill. So I guess we didn't violate anything. Hopefully we don't get a ticket for something that we did. Alright, now let's see what's happening here. Big truck overtaking another truck. See, this guy's like indicator, he wants to go into this lane even though he's not that fast, but he had given indicator, so I was aware, so I could slow down. He was not overtaking, he was just aware of a stalled truck on the other side. Wanted to give that guy some fair clearance. Now let's see. Okay, his indicator has gone off, which means we can now overtake him. And then now we've got another truck ahead who is maintaining his lane, not giving indicators, so we shall warily overtake him. And then now we've got another truck. He's got what? Hazard lights flashing. What's happening, bro? Some kind of a different take on the hazard lights. You know, what's he trying to tell us? I don't know. So remember, I was telling in the earlier video that there will be a certain time when the highway will have lots of truck traffic and traffic from buses, intercity buses. I hope we haven't come into that time thingy. Because it is a fair bit more difficult driving when there's lots of heavy vehicles on the highway. The good news is that for this stretch of the road, we shall soon be coming into a more flatlands. Yeah, but I think we've got one more section of hilly road to clear. These hazard lights. The other guy has got some other light, some vehicle behind me. Let's just move into the slower lane, let the vehicle behind me overtake. Yep, some other guy will pick up in a hurry. Hurry, bro, but be safe. Slowly. I think a bus is like ahead. Yeah. Those two buses. Some of these buses will speed at the highway. Look at this guy. Yeah, he could clearly see my headlights as I was approaching, but you know. So what, he says. And the speed limit for these buses, I believe, on the highway is 90 or just 100 kilometers per hour. But you'll often see them doing 120 or 130. Dangerous, yeah, because like, you know, they're so big, cumbersome, and also their centers of gravity tend to be a bit higher. So they're not safe when they are speeding. This truck driver was like contemplating cutting into that lane because another guy ahead of him was driving almost to the road shoulder. You know, that's dangerous, bro. You don't move into the road shoulder and you leave half your lane exposed to the guy behind you, because now like he's tempted to try to overtake you, but he can't. He only has half a lane to overtake you, so he'll encroach upon the other lane, and then that makes the vehicles behind that guy, you know, even more confused. Like, why is there half a lane available for me to overtake that guy? Can I squeeze through? You know, every once in a while you'll get some guy who's like, you know, a little bit fatigued when he's driving, and he'll think, oh, okay, this guy's allowing me an opportunity to squeeze through, and he'll squeeze through into trouble for everybody concerned. Yeah. thing about driving on the highway is you don't veer away and give way to traffic. You stay on your lane, in the proper part of your lane, move into the slow lane. If you are, not driving at the faster lane or at the overtaking lane speed, move into the slower lane, and then you can turn on indicator. Don't turn your bloody hazard lights on, because that's supposed to be for stalled vehicles, but you can turn on your left indicator. In this case, yes, we drive on the left side of the road in Malaysia. You can give your left indicator, so the vehicles behind you will see that, hey, you might be turning to the left. They're wondering what you're up to. But since you haven't given them way on your lane, they can't squeeze past you. They have to overtake you. So in the older days, before we had highways, driving on a lane and giving the left indicator would mean one of two things. One, obviously, is that you are going to be turning left at an intersection ahead of you. But if there is no intersection ahead of you and it's a trunk road, like a main travel road, then usually it was a way to indicate to the vehicle behind you that, hey, the road ahead is clear. If you want, you can overtake me. So it was like, you can overtake me signal. And on the reverse side of it, if there was some traffic ahead and it wasn't safe to overtake on the old trunk roads, which were like a single lane, roads, right? So if it wasn't safe to overtake, then you would turn on your right turn indicator, because nobody's allowed to overtake you from your left. They have to overtake you from your right. So when you put on your right turn indicator, it means either you're going to be turning right, or that there is oncoming traffic and it's not safe to overtake you. And this would be very, very, very helpful when you are driving, especially if you're following a large vehicle like a truck or a bus, where if you're driving on a single lane, not on these dual or triple carriage highways, you're driving on a single lane trunk road. If it's a rural area, the vehicle in front of you is slower, you want to overtake him. So, but you can't see past him to see whether the road is clear or not. Then you would have to rely on his indicators. And what he would do is he would keep the right indicator on to let you know that it's not safe for you to overtake him. And then when he reached a stretch of road where it was safe for you to overtake, because he can see ahead and he knows that it's now safe to overtake, he turned his left indicator on, and the left indicator on would be an invitation for you to overtake him. That was the way we used to drive, 20, 30 years ago, and it was the way of, I would say, gentleman driving, or gentle ladies driving, so trucks, buses, cars, everybody sort of cooperated with this system. And so generally speaking, even though the roads were winding and they could be a bit narrow, just single lanes, but there was a fair bit of safety in driving, And then later they started having these highways, and all of us went wow, it's so easy now. We've got 2 lanes going in this direction, and you're not going to be, meeting the oncoming traffic. You can overtake anybody at leisure, no problem at all. And so, it was oh wow, all the trucks stay on the slower lane, the cars go on the faster lane, and We can overtake so easily. It became so easy to drive. And for a while it was really good. But then after some years, all of these road manners and skills that we had developed, giving indicators to other drivers, they all disappeared. People stopped giving all these indicators, and then the newer drivers, the younger generation who started learning how to drive, they weren't driving on the old trunk road systems. They were already beginning to use these highway systems for all of their intercity driving. So they had absolutely no clue what all those old courtesies were, and they just drive as fast as they could and however they wanted to. And so usage of road indicators and stuff like that began to mean nothing. And so nowadays, if you see some guy turning some indicator on, you've got no idea what he means with those indicators. I suppose we are lucky that generally speaking some vehicles would still give their right turn indicators when they are switching lanes, but not everybody does it. Just a small fraction of the drivers do it. So if you're following some vehicle and it doesn't have his indicators on, it doesn't mean that he's just sticking to his lane. He just suddenly swerve into his lane, and even when they notice that you're coming up behind them, they don't even look at their rear view mirrors. They just turn into the other lane, and if they want to overtake somebody, they just cut into the overtaking lane. And so when you are approaching them, you've got to really be mindful here. Look at another guy with some flashing light. What the hell is that oncoming guys flashing forward light mean? Does he think he's going to some kind of a dance party or whatever? But it's confusing because I'm driving down, I want to know what's happening. What is he trying to say? Is there some danger ahead or whatever? Or from some distance ahead, especially when it's raining here, you've got no clue what's happening. And it's already tough enough when you're driving at a fast speed to know which lane you are on, where both the lanes are. A fair bit of the driving at night is, hey, the automatic headlights have come on, because road is clear ahead, and let's help this bro. Then now I can see the whole road now. Oops, it's detected a vehicle coming on the other side, and so it dipped the headlights. But anyway, I was saying that a fair bit of the driving at night, you're relying upon those little reflector lights on the railings, in the middle as well as on the shoulder of the road. Those little reflector lights. What do they call? I think they call them cat's eyes. Wow, cat's eyes. So you're relying on being able to see the cat's eyes, so you have a good idea as to where the boundaries of the road are. But if it's a night, if it's raining, then you may not see the cat's eyes that clearly. And so anyway, you've got the cat's eyes, and then you've got vehicles with amber lights, flashing for whatever reason, and you've got no idea what's happening. I've slowed down here because like I said, there's a lot of flashing lights. There are vehicles parked on the side of the road, and then some are trying to overtake and whatever, but certainly to my mind, flashing lights mean somebody is trying to attract your attention. And on the drive, they attract your attention, it means like, hey, look out, there's something happening here. I'm either switching lanes or I'm turning, or something. So my simple mind says, when you see flashing lights, you slow down and you look out for hazards. But some people will sort of like, decorate their vehicle with flashing lights. They think, this is notice my vehicle here. By God. So while lights are helpful, too many lights become confusing. And flashing lights, see again we got some vehicle coming ahead, some truck, and he got flashing lights right on top of his ears there. What the hell? They should appoint me as a road traffic commissioner. Yeah, I'd just get all of these these rectal beings, and throw them in jail. Yeah, that's it. Get them off the road. So like right now, okay, traffic is coming ahead, lots of lights, lots of cars, and I can see the red tail lights of a big vehicle ahead, but nothing is flashing good. I know where we are going. I know that on the right side many vehicles are approaching, but I've got an idea of what's happening. But once all of these lights start flashing, then oh my God, what's happening? What are they trying to say? And mind you, the point of this all is also that we are not driving slow. We are driving at fast speeds. I'm actually having to brake now because I'm too fast in relation to that guy. So just like I say, it's not good. I'm flying, whizzing past him just as he makes a sudden swerve. It's not good. I've got no time to sort of like take corrective measures. Section of the journey, I believe, will be mostly flat lands. So we've cleared the hilly areas, and we shouldn't be having any steep slopes or sharp winding roads, which is good. But at the same time, it also means that the driving becomes a little bit on the boring side. And if there's long stretches of straight road, then you'd see long stretches of oncoming vehicles, headlights, which can be, look at that, flashing lights in there, trucks there. What's wrong with these guys? So what was I saying? Long stretches of straight roads would mean you'd see long stretches of oncoming headlights, and the glare will begin to get to you. So you've got to be mindful then you also have to sort of like avoid staring into all those glaring lights. Some people, tend to naturally look towards lighted objects, which is, I suppose it's fairly natural, but you need to train yourself to look at your own section of the road, and then trust that those vehicles, all those headlights that you're seeing are not on your side of the road. You know what I mean? That you're not heading for a collision with them. They are oncoming traffic, but they are on the other side of the divider, so to speak. God forbid that anybody should be like driving against traffic flow and coming straight crashing towards you. But like I said, so then you have to shift your focus of your view away from those lights and onto your side of the road. That way you get less eye strain when you're driving. Look at that now. You see, we see many of these like oncoming vehicles lights here. And this is one of the things that make night driving tough. If you do feel that fatigue, then you can just, you can help yourself. You can move over slightly to the left to the slower lane or the truck lane, so to speak. That will reduce a fair bit the amount of glare you're getting. Straight stretches, it becomes a little bit tricky. It becomes difficult to estimate the distance between yourself and a vehicle ahead of you, because like you can only see their tail lights, and some vehicles have brighter lights than others, some have larger lights than others, so you can't use the brightness of lights as an indicator. You're actually trying to see a bit of road and get some proper perspective. Okay, some flashing lights, more vehicles, time to slow down a little bit. Yeah. So here we go. I'm slower, this guy is slower. I've got to take this guy. What's happening a bit further ahead? You see, there's a rest area, then you've got like, vehicles on the other side, the flashing lights. As we overtook that truck just now, he had a horn, no idea what he was horning at, Was he pissed off at me for overtaking him? Not really. I mean, like, he just did it, in the normal way. He had not given any indicator he wanted to be on this lane. I don't think he wanted to. Maybe he thought he saw a buddy on the road. It's weird. Oh, just remembered, once in a while I talk about the old days, so to speak, like 30, 40 years ago, when you were driving along the old trunk roads, and if it was like late nights and stuff like that, and I was talking about, how vehicles would observe a certain kind of a road courtesy etiquette, so to speak, giving indicators to let you know whether there was oncoming traffic or when you could overtake. Another thing that we used to do was to honk at a vehicle as we are overtaking them. Because let's say I'm following this vehicle, so let's say it's a vehicle now in front and I'm following him, and it's not a dual carriage road. He gave a right turn signal to indicate that I shouldn't overtake him. There was oncoming traffic, and then he gave a left signal to indicate that it was safe to overtake him. Then what I would do is I would follow, and as I pass him, I just give a short toot of the horn, and that meant thank you. That meant thank you. Nowadays, of course, if you horn and honk at somebody, then it's like it's rude behavior, because it's considered rude to horn at somebody. But in those days, as you pass by somebody, just do that, or and it just meant like thank you. And another situation where you would horn as well is like when you're overtaking some vehicle or some vehicle coming from the opposite direction, and he passes you by, and if it was a truck driver and he passes by another truck driver, he'd also give a kind of a blast at its horn, a toot. It's kind of loud. Some of them had louder horns, but it was like a little bit of startling effect, but it was like a wake up kind of a thing, just in case the other truck driver was a bit sleepy. So you don't do it in broad daylight, in clear driving conditions, but under certain circumstances the truck drivers would do that to each other. And again, when doing long distance hauling, as they overtake each other, they do that. Or sometimes if they see a truck that is stalled on the side of the road, like we just saw some trucks on the side of the road, they seem to be more stalled than resting, then the drivers who are passing by might just toot a little bit. That's just honking in support, so to speak. There was this feeling of esprit de corps, they call it esprit de corps, camaraderie amongst the drivers. Nowadays, with all these like highway drivings and I don't know, over commercialization of everything, a lot of this etiquette thing is lost. But I do believe that amongst truck drivers there still is some of this, because you can see when they pull over at rest areas, some of the trucks are so big that they have to help each other to park or get into the proper parking bays and stuff. And then of course, if a truck breaks down or if it's got a flat tire or whatever, they need some help and support. Not easy for a truck to come and stop to help and aid another truck, because big trucks, they need big spaces to park safely. Alright, but you still see them giving each other some kind of support, and at least a small honk on the horn is a bit of moral support in a way. Moving into the truck lane, or the so-called slow lane, for a bit. Why? Well, just for a little bit of a mental rest. You can just try to still be alert, but it's less stressful driving here. Just need to watch out for vehicles ahead and not approach them too fast. But got the car radar tracker on as well, so it should be helping me. And also less glare. Yes, see, less glare on this side from the oncoming traffic. Yeah. that my high beam is cheekily checking out to see whether it can come on or not. So much easier to visualize the road when you've got a high beam on, but you have to be mindful of the fact that it irritates the drivers on the other side of the road, yeah, and that road glare blinds them sometimes, and then so they could be driving into danger. So you just have to keep your beam low, and if you can't see the road clear enough with that lower beam, just drive slower. Just drive slower. I think most drivers nowadays are just totally selfish. Yeah? They only want what's good for themselves, so they blast their high beams on. Some of them even have extra powerful headlights installed, so-called fog lamp kind of a thingies, and they'll turn them on full blast so they can see the road clear. Look like it's so nice to see this road like this, albeit for a short while, and they want to leave it on all the time, so they enjoy beautiful night driving experience while the guys on the other side of the road suffer. Look at that, nice, beautiful, lovely view. But somebody's going to be coming up ahead soon. Look at that, see? And so the car just dips the headlights. That light, flashing disco light, some party vehicle. I mean, like, what the hell are they trying to prove with those kind of lights on the highway system? Yeah? The only people who can see those lights are people on my side of the road, yeah, and we are not, we are not sort of like in a situation where we are going to be in danger of colliding with him because we are separated by the road divider. So all of that flashing thing is just not going to impress anybody or help anybody, but it's just going to irritate people on this side of the road. They should just make them illegal, yeah. They serve no purpose at all. Not on the highway, even if it's a non-highway thing, I think it just confuse people, yeah. If you just have, their vehicle lights installed in the front, headlights, and maybe, top lights, but static ones, not flashing ones. High beam dipped. Say it's like fun having a car with certain features running on auto mode, yeah, like the lights dipping and on, headlights to take some of your work away, and then having like a cruise control and a radar tracker to check speed. I mean, you're still always like going to be like manually sort of like doing things like, I saw some red lights and I wasn't sure about the vehicle's distance because the road was dipping a little bit, I suppose. So I just touched the brakes. So that's just manual driving. Let's see if I'm approaching this guy purely on my auto cruise. And now we're just too close for comfort. Yeah. But look, now my vehicle's auto cruise thing has decided to hit the brakes. Yeah. So while it's like it did respond adequately and safely, but personally speaking, when I'm driving manually, I would prefer for those actions to start happening even much further ahead. I think we're now at a stretch of the highway where the road has been widened from like 2 lanes in each direction to 3 lanes in each direction. We are still about 100 kilometers from Kuala Lumpur, but like I said very much earlier in my earlier video, no place in Malaysia or in the peninsula at least is too far from another place, and a lot of industries have workers who live in smaller towns and come to work in the bigger cities. So there's a fair bit of traffic movement near the big cities. People who are driving into work, and some people would like drive an hour to work and still be happy living in smaller towns. So as you approach the big cities, roads tend to see much more traffic. And Kuala Lumpur being the capital, you'll see a lot of traffic from the nearby towns. So for this section of the road, even 100 kilometers away from Kuala Lumpur, they've had to widen the road, widen this highway to cope with the amount of traffic. During the daytime, this road is like, it's heavy with traffic. At this time though, it's night here. It's about 3:20 in the morning, and so now we've got one extra lane to drive on, and I'm no longer driving on the rightmost lane, the overtaking lane, so assumption is that trucks and slow moving vehicles will be on the left lane, as we can see from the truck that we are just passing, and then the average speed vehicles, are on this middle lane, and then the rightmost lane would be purely for those who needed to overtake those who are on this lane. So absolutely no reason to want to hog the rightmost lane. Unless, of course, the traffic becomes heavy and we get slower traffic on even this lane. But even then, you could just only use the right lane when you're overtaking, and that would be a better way of using the lanes. Area here, and sort of like pull over, stretch legs a little bit, just to break up the video. Yeah, let's just do that. Let's just do that, and break the video into many segments while we happily stretch our legs a little bit. This is a smaller rest area. Probably very popular with trucks at this hour. Facilities. Don't need to just find a spot to park for a bit. Stop the video. Still, hey, let's visit the restroom here. Okay, stop the video.